8 years ago, Los Angeles Football Club was born, and today they can move one step closer to their ultimate goal. This is the 110 Football Tailgate, and we're doing this ahead of the Western Conference Final, one step away from MLS Cup Final. I am Vince LaRosa here with Defenders of the Banc, Philly and JR.
What's good?
We are unfortunately one person light today, and we want to say a shout out to him because he's at home. He's feeling a little under the weather. Connor Colopsis. We wish you could be here.
Feel better, brother.
But the three of us will take you through this. We'll get you all the way up to the final.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a big one, guys. How do you feel? Just in this moment, are you ready to go? How do you feel?
I mean, I'm excited. It's the Western Conference Final. It's the two best teams in the West going up against each other. And if you're not nervous, something's wrong with you. If you're confident, that's probably a good thing because we've got a really good team. But at the end of the day, happy birthday, LAFC, and we're going to come out with a really big W at the end of the day.
This is what we do everything for during the preseason, the season, the offseason. It all leads up to moments like this. And if you're not excited, if you're not nervous, if you're not feeling those butterflies but feeling excited, then what are we doing, right? This is what we're all here for.
And folks, make sure you ask your questions in the chat. Join us. Be interactive. We love chatting with you. We love seeing some familiar faces. Hello to Mario. Hello to Leonardo. Hello to Dave Gomez. Interact with us. That's what makes the show fun.
And speaking of interaction, there's still a chance that you can interact with us and win a prize. And it's a big prize. It's an Ilie Sanchez signed soccer ball. And all you have to do is tell us your favorite moment here at the Banc.
Ilie.
Hopefully might be today, but give us the one prior to today. That is your favorite one, and that Ilie Sanchez signed ball could be yours.
Right?
It's a pretty good prize.
That's a great prize. That's a great midfielder. We're going to see him a lot today. And hopefully after today, the value of that ball is going to go up just a little bit more because of Ilie.
Okay, so we are going to get right into it, but before we do, real quick, Chris, you're give me your gut feeling in this moment.
I am nervous, so nervous. However, watching the Austin playoff games, I see how vulnerable they really are and how really good we played against our arch rival. I believe in us all the way. It's going to be tough, but we're going to get it done.
I like it.
I like it.
Chris always comes through with the fire.
I asked for gut feeling. I get full analysis. Thank you, Chris. Speaking of analysis, I'm going to throw it to the coach and the captain. That's Steve Trundle and Carlos Vela. They were speaking ahead of this match, and Steve was telling us a little bit about the prior matchups and how we should consider them when we're going into this one. So let's hear from Steve.
Two completely different games. They have no effect on Sunday's match. Different players in the field in each match is different stories. So completely detaching Sunday's game to those two. Like I said, just different set of circumstances. So the game here we all saw statistically very dominant. Unlucky with a few calls as well. We're naive in two moments, and that was the game. And then there had a poor performance, and but again, statistically, also not the worst performance if you look at expected goals, if that's important to you. So very different games, different players in the field for them as well. So I don't think it has any bearing on Sunday.
We know they are a really good team, but in the end, I say last week, it's a new tournament. Doesn't matter what you did in the past. Doesn't matter how good you did in the league or how bad you did against some teams. This is a special game. You have to win. Doesn't matter how. You have to be focused in, do your best, bring everything you have, and in the end, one team will win. So I hope we can be the team past the round, and we will bring everything to get it.
So if I'm getting the gist of it, they're saying live for today. Short-term memory.
Right.
Sports is one of those weird things where you're supposed to learn from your mistakes, but in the moment, you're supposed to forget everything else. So your guys' thoughts on putting out the two games prior and just thinking about this moment here.
I mean, as Ted Lasso said, be a goldfish, have a short-term memory. The fact that we lost to them twice right now is meaningless. The fact that we're the #1 team in the West and the best in MLS is meaningless. The fact that we're the Supporters' Shield champion is meaningless. Yesterday is gone. We're forward-looking. Today is what matters, because if we don't focus and do something positive today, there is no tomorrow. This legitimately is do or die. So all those accolades, the fact that Austin's coming in with all the confidence they have, the fact that they beat us, who cares? Today is a completely different story than yesterday.
Yeah, Vince, I think you mentioned it on a pregame show last match that Captain Carlos Vela is the one who's speaking at those press conferences now. Not just Carlos Vela, the superstar, not just Carlos Vela, the team leader, but we are hearing Captain Carlos Vela for these last 2 matches, and he's saying all the right things. He's absolutely right. Nothing matters nothing matters other than these 90 minutes that we are about to play here. Different players took the field last time. Steve Cherundolo talked about it, but all we should be concerned about are these 90 minutes.
Well, they should be concerned about, because for us, let's worry about what happened in those last couple of games, because I'm sure people in the chat are worried too. So they come here, that's all the way back in May, 2-1. The first team to beat us at home. Obviously, we had that final day against Nashville. I almost don't even count that because it was such a weird.
Sure.
So I'll say Austin really was the only team to really beat us at home. But then when we go there in August, they kind of blew the doors off LAFC. So I just don't think we can totally forget it. So what lessons would you guys take from those games?
So if we go back to game 1, which obviously seems like forever and a day ago, that was a completely different LAFC team. Granted, it was a completely different Austin team. Our front line in that match, Vince, we had Vela, we had Mahala before he really started breaking out, and we had Danny Musovski. A good lineup, but not one that's going to strike fear in the heart of a back line. You fast forward to game 2. We have Chicho who's starting to fire on all cylinders. You have Vela who's starting to take care of business. But you've got Gareth Bale, who since that match has not been a factor within LAFC. Today, we've got 3 forwards that are firing on all cylinders. Carlos Vela is having a really good season. Chicho Arango is our leading scorer, and Denny Bouanga, in just a couple of short matches, has already solidified himself as a club legend, getting that goal against Portland and scoring 2 against the Galaxy. We are so much different up top. So that back line of Austin needs to fear, because there are 3 threats. Not 1, not 2, but 3.
Scarf, do you take more, because we're talking about past performances, so let's just look at the kind of the scope of it. 2 losses to Austin. Do you take more from that or the win that they just had against the Galaxy? Is that the route to look at?
So look, our win against the Galaxy was a huge win. No matter how you slice it, that's an incredible victory. I don't care if that's a preseason match or if that's a match to go to the Western Conference Final. But what I think we need to look at when it comes to these Austin matches is the fact that they can capitalize on our mistakes better than almost any club in Major League Soccer. The reason why we were down 4-0, and by the way, we were down 4-0 to this Austin club at one point, is because they countered and capitalized on every single mistake that we made. But just like we put a lot of stock into our victory in 2019 over Carson, where we may have used up most of our energy just to get over that hump, we have an Austin team that's coming into this match never having beaten FC Dallas until this last match. So maybe we could see something like the way we played in 2019 against Seattle. I'm not banking on it, but you know what? We could see something like that with Austin here against us today.
And what I want to say is, after they absolutely hurt us down in Austin, they haven't had a really good run of form. They didn't really win many games after that 4-1 win against LAFC. And it really took bad officiating and a Herculean effort by Austin to get past Sergio Cordova and RSL. So we can't exactly say they've had a good run of form lately either. I would say between the 2 teams, yes, they have played a couple of more games, but I would still say we have the better run of form as of right now.
Yeah, again, sports, it's interesting the way you can, any way you slice it, you can try to point it towards your team. If you're Austin, you look at it and say, we've beaten them twice. We're not afraid of this moment. Yes, it's only our 2nd year. We have a chance to go to MLS Cup final, but we know what we have to do here, and we're one of the few teams that do. If you're LAFC, you say, no one can beat us 3 times, especially when we're at home. We've gotten back over the hump again over the Galaxy. We know that we're going to have 22,000 plus strong, so we shouldn't be scared of the moment. So that's the beauty and glory of sports. You can find one way or another to slice it. End of the day, they'll play the game, and that's how we'll decide it. So let's talk more about this game, and to do that, we like to do a game normally here, but we're no prizes this time, because as I've told you guys, the prize is for sending in your best moment here at Banc. But we'll still do players to watch, because we think it's important. It's a good way to break down the game. And this week, as we always do, we'll pick one from each team, and we're just going to talk through it. I'll start us off. My players to watch, I think, might be a little bit interesting. I did not pick the star name.
I like this.
I went with Alexander Ring for Austin. I think a lot of Austin fans really like Alexander Ring and the way he stitches the team together. I like players like that that take the defense, move the ball forward, and then when the ball turns over, are able to get back, win it back for their team. I think if Alexander Ring is able to do that for them and to stop LAFC's transition moments, it's going to be a long, long day for LAFC. And then the flip side, Sifu. He found a way to be important in the game against the Galaxy. I think the 2nd goal, he had a big hand in it, really fighting for the ball, winning it back, and keeping it going. But other than that, was not pivotal in the game. And when we think of games where LAFC is really on top, it's Sifu either winning the ball back high or running out in transition or doing a lot of things. So I think I just need to see more of a 90-minute performance from Sifu, and that will spell good things for LAFC. And next up, Philly. Who are your 2 players to watch?
Well, I got to ask, your choice of Alexander Ring, is that any precursor? Former NYCFC player Alexander Ring, is that any precursor as to who you think is going to advance in the Eastern Conference Final?
You know what? No, because I think this. You want to talk about a revenge game? Philly's got a lot going on there.
Yeah, that's a whole nother broadcast. So as far as my 2 players to watch for LAFC, it's very simple. The guy we've been riding the last 54-plus games, Chicho Arango, our leading scorer, the guy who saved whatever was left of last season, and the man who's helped propel us into the position that we are now in. Chicho is our leading goal scorer. He is the guy who's going to make things happen, and he is my prediction for somebody who is going to score a goal today. Success breeds upon success, and Chicho had that game winner against the Galaxy, and I foresee him getting another big goal today. As far as Austin is concerned, obviously you have your 2 players who, in my opinion, are the tequila in the Austin margarita. But the one guy I want to watch out for is Urruti. Urruti in that game down in Austin played exceptionally well. And we don't know if he was fired up by the fight between Fagundes and Murillo, but he came out scoring 2 goals. So if there's anything that happens when a player goes into an arena or goes up against a team that he's had success against, he's going to go out there and prove his worth. He's had the best season in MLS that he's had since 2018. And he's not only their second leading scorer, he's their second leading shot taker, and he's their second leader in terms of shots on target. So if he gets the start, that's a player to watch out for. But if GT comes off the bench, he's still a player to watch out for.
Yeah, I like the Maxi Urruti shot. He seems to find a way to score against LAFC no matter what team he's playing for. And I think he is trying to play for every single MLS team. So he'll be here as long as expansion's going on. And then Chicho, if you do look at his goals, he scores in bunches. It's normally not just one game and then he doesn't score for a while. He scores 4 or 5 games in a row and then maybe takes a couple of days off. Scarf, who are your 2 players to watch?
Yeah, you're talking about that goal from Chicho Arango. It came off the service of one Kellen Acosta, and I think that what we are going to need today is impeccable service on those set pieces. So for LAFC, Kellen Acosta is indeed my player to watch. We saw him tally 3 assists in a U.S. men's national team game, and we have been wanting, waiting, wishing, hoping for a 90-minute complete performance like that from Kellen Acosta in terms of service. He does so many things on the pitch that really do help LAFC out in the midfield, but it's the service that I think will set us free in this match. That's why we're here. That's the 3rd goal that Chicho was able to score. And I'm going to throw out a name that you might not see getting large minutes yet for Austin FC, but it's a designated player that they have brought over and are trying to work into their system, and that's Emiliano Rigoni. You need to take a look at this kid. He is supremely talented, comes over from a successful run at several different clubs, and this is going to be a fun guy to watch. I really do think that if they're going to have an X factor, someone who they haven't seen do many things for them in this match that could propel them onto the MLS Cup final, it's Emiliano Rigoni. I think we're going to see a little bit more from him than we have all season for Austin.
Yeah, we really haven't seen a lot from Rigoni, but what I have seen from him, like Acosta, great deliverer of the ball. He has a really good cross on him, so something LAFC should watch out for from corners, but also seems like when he's on the wing, he really likes to send in that early cross.
And none of us mentioned Diego Fagundes, obviously their assist leader and a guy who can
We're trying to pretend like he doesn't exist.
Right. He can put a ball in pretty much anywhere. Yeah. Rigoni can do that as well, so I think we really have to worry about crosses into the box.
Yeah, if Driussi is in fact the MVP, he owes a lot of it to Diego Fagundes, I think. But let's move on from here to another thing we like to do. And for legal reasons, we do not give out prizes and or money for this. This is 110 football prop bets. And I'm not going to take you through this because I don't know much about this. I don't gamble much. But there's one guy on this set that does, and he's not wearing a hat.
That's me. I'm the only one not wearing a hat.
Scarf, please take us through prop bets and tell us how it works.
Prop bets are a wonderful thing. You get to decide which side of the coin you want to be on. Will it be over or under a certain number? Will a player do something or won't they? It's so much fun, and we get to put a lot of Monopoly money on this one. We have a good time. We run through 4 different prop bets for each game. And look, play along with us. Keep score with us. Let us know how much more of a degenerate gambler you guys are than I am. Because I think it's one of the few times that Vince hasn't called me that.
I know. Maybe, hopefully that's not bad luck.
Which I appreciate. The anytime goal scorer. This is someone who you think is going to score at any point during the match. Philly, who is your anytime goal scorer for this match?
Well, I'm going to tell you, in terms of selections, I'm feeling kind of lucky because clearly I have the sun shining down on me. As far as the player who I think is going to score, it's the person that I mentioned is my player to watch. Chicho Arango, our team's leading scorer and an MVP finalist candidate, by the way.
I like it. Vince?
Anytime we have this category, I go Chicho Arango because it's Chicho Arango. Like, if there's one guy that you can count on to maybe do absolutely nothing but score in the match, it's Chicho Arango.
Yeah, I think I called for a brace last game, and it happened. I'm calling for just one. I am clearly riding the Bouanga bus all the way to the MLS Cup final. Denny Bouanga is my anytime goal scorer for this match. We're going to see more magic.
That's Mr. Big Game Bouanga.
Big Game Bouanga. Print the T-shirts. Let's do it. Over, under 0.5 penalties. We saw this prop bet last match as well, and it was basically, do you or don't you think there's going to be a PK during this match? I have the under. I do not think that there is going to be a PK in this match. Vince, I can't tell if that smirk was because you agree with me or that I'm wrong.
So I also have the under, although Austin needed a PK to get kick-started against RSL. I've been watching these referees this playoffs, and they seem to not want to make the big decision. So I feel like that would be a huge decision in this match. No penalty.
So I'm going to disagree with the both of you because the fact that we've had some pretty rancid officiating, pro referees, occur over the course of the playoffs and the regular season. You look at the referees. Villarreal is one of the referees in this game, and he hasn't exactly been as kind to LAFC as some of the other officials in the past. So I predict we are over 0.5 because we have Villarreal as one of the officials today.
All right, real quick, is that penalty for LAFC or is it going Austin's way?
If it's Villarreal, it would go against LAFC.
Oh, great. All right.
Oh, no.
Speaking of things that will hopefully go against the opposite squad, Austin, than us, first yellow card of the match. Philly, first yellow card of the match.
I mean, he's a machine at attaining yellow cards, folks, and that would be Jesus David Murillo.
I like it, Vince.
Sadly, it's true. Luckily, though, if he does get one, yellow cards reset if they do happen to make it, so it would not count.
Right.
I'm going with another central defender, Cascante. A little heavy-footed at times and can be a bit rash.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go Cascante.
Great minds think alike. Exactly what he said for exactly why. Julio Cascante. Absolutely. And our final over-under 2.5 goals in this match. This is the easy money one for me. Last time we played it was 4-1. The time before that it was 2-1. So we're talking over on both of those. We are absolutely going over again. Over 2.5 is my take on this one. Philly.
Blinded by the light, baby. We have two of the highest scoring teams in this league. LAFC at 2, Austin at 3, easily over that number.
Yeah, this is one that the bookmakers just don't seem to get right. It's got to be over. And plus, when you see my parlay, it just makes sense.
I love it. I think we're all going to be over on our parlay scores as well. Parlays, that's an interesting term to bring up there, Vince. We get to wrap 2 of these 4 prop bets into a little package along with what we believe our score line is going to be for what we like to call the 110 parlay for the match. And I believe, Vince, we're going to you first on the parlay.
My parlay bets always kind of loop into each other. So I went anytime goal scorer Chicho. I went the over on the combined goals. And then to put the score together to really all fold it into each other, 2-1 LAFC, which would get us the 3 goals and get us the over that I called for. So that's how I loop it all together. But I always feel like I put too much reason into it, and that's not what parlays are about.
No, it's all about what you feel like is going to happen. I always like to bet parlays on what I want to see happen in the match. Philly, your parlay, sir.
You best start believing ghost stories, Mr. Scarf. As far as my parlay is concerned, we're going to be over 0.5 with penalties awarded. That's number 1. We're going to be over 2.5 goals scored. That I feel absolutely sure of. And the final score, it'll be LAFC winning by 2 goals. 3-1, and we are all going to have beef with broccoli for dinner tonight.
I like it. Philly, our parlays are actually pretty similar, except I'm going
do a podcast together.
I'm going under on the penalties. I do not think there's going to be one, but I will absolutely take the over and the 3-1 scoreline. I think we're all in agreement. If that over-under is really 2.5, you got some time, folks, before this match starts. Mythical Monopoly money if you've got it. I like the over 2.5 a whole lot.
Do you guys, on my card, I have Connor's parlays. Do you guys want to hear them? Because they're kind of wild. So Connor has Mahal anytime goal. And Connor, if you're watching or listening,
love you, Connor.
Sorry. Mahal anytime goal, which I like. Under 2.5 combined goals. Because he thinks LAFC wins it's a 1-1 tie, and then they win in
penalties.
Oh,
I know.
My ticker can't take that.
And the fact that he's not here, it's going to be excruciating if they do go to penalties.
Right?
I would love to see him just leaning against the wall like he was in the Galaxy game, just terrified while they're in penalties.
Yeah, Connor, we hope you're feeling all right, buddy, but maybe you were a little sick when you started making those predictions. I don't think that's going to be the case at all. I think it's going to be a big scoring line for LAFC today.
All right, so we go from predictions to what we think should and can happen in this game. This is shoot your shot. We're taking you right up to the game. We're going to throw you to ABC in a little bit. In this moment, we got to get a little serious.
Yeah.
This is kind of what Steve would be telling the players right before they walk out that tunnel and take the pitch. So these are probably like the most important instructions he's going to give the team. So Scarf, you are up first. Shoot your shot.
Yeah, I hope he's actually been saying this all week in training as well, and that's to limit the counter opportunities for Austin FC. The reason why we were down 4-0 the last time we played this club is because they capitalized on our mistakes and they countered and capitalized on the counter. So much like the double-sided tape on these cards, we need to stick to Austin FC with our back line defense as well as we have all season with any team. We need to limit the counter opportunities, and to me, that cuts off their offense more than anything else. So if we can limit those counters, we are going to be breezing into the MLS Cup final.
It does seem to be the only way to beat LAFC is if you can find odd man rushes. So
Yep.
I do like that. Philly, shoot your shot.
I mean, I'm going to kind of piggyback off of something Scarf said, but what I think Steve should have told the boys is 6-2 and repeated that. 6-2 was the amount of goals that Austin scored over LAFC in our previous 2 encounters. And while Scarf had mentioned counters was the thing that punished us, the last match, there wasn't anything really created by Austin because it was LAFC's mistakes that led to the counters that Austin capitalized on. And that's what I want to mention. Be mindful of those mistakes. We do know that fatigue can create bad decisions and create cowards out of all of us. So limit those mistakes. You limit those mistakes, you limit those counters. While LAFC might have the pressure on them, the 22,000 in Banc of California Stadium are going to bring the fire. And if there's anything I know, pressure creates diamonds and fire refines gold. And that's exactly what's going to happen today. We're going to have beef with broccoli for lunch today.
Connor just sent me a picture of the screen. He is, in fact, watching. So, hello, Connor. Okay, my shot is this. It's dictate the rhythm of the match. And I'm looking at this Austin team. They're a very good team, but they remind me shades of LAFC 2019. They're all gas, not a lot of breaks.
Right.
Because the one place where they're kind of mediocre is at the back line. So if you can control the ball, disrupt their rhythm, don't let them get into the pockets where Driussi kind of appears and then disappears. That's the way to do it. So long spells of possession. Against Dallas, they handled Dallas pretty much throughout the entire game. But there was a span there where Dallas got their one goal and they just kind of strung passes together. I think Austin got a little bit antsy, and I like the way LAFC can control the ball a little bit more than Dallas and do it with some purpose. So dictate the rhythm of the game, and to your guys' points, it makes sense. Don't give up that odd man rush. I think that's really what's going to be important.
Yeah, look, we are 90 minutes from getting our berth in MLS Cup final, but we need to know who that starting 11 is going to be as we get set to take the pitch here at the Cathedral of Black and Gold, a 12-17 or so start. Let's talk about the starting 11 and what stands out. I'm stalling for a minute.
You're vamping for it to show
there
up?
It is.
There it is.
It's Maxime Crepeau in goal. No surprise there. Ryan Hollingshead, Jesus David Murillo, Giorgio Chiellini, and Chiqui Palacios. That is the back four we have been wanting. Jose Cifuentes, Ilie Sanchez, Kellen Acosta, Carlos Vela, Chicho Arango, and Denny Bawanga. I got to say, no surprises there.
About what you would expect, right?
This is exactly the lineup that we expected going forward, and I think it's the lineup that's going to start the MLS Cup final in a week.
So Giorgio Chiellini did not play against the Galaxy because he picked up a little knock ahead of time. I think he probably was slated to start, but he managed to come in and shut down shop, and he was very good. But do you have any reservations about him coming in slightly cold to this match?
No, not at all. Giorgio Chiellini is a world-class player. He's been on the big stage before, internationally and club level. If there's anybody who knows the magnitude of a big game, it's him. I have all the confidence in this lineup. I have all the confidence in Steve Cherundolo. This is not the time to mess around with line changes and shifts and stuff like that. This is going to be the team that's going to propel us into the next round. And as a result of that, Steve Cherundolo is going to be the 11th coach in the history of this league to make it to the final within his first season coaching.
Yeah, Vince, you've been at training and seeing these guys a little bit more. Eddie Segura, I hear he picked up a little bit of a knock. I didn't get a chance to see if he was in the 18 or not. Very small print on our screen, but maybe it's Sebastian Ibeaga who's the next man up at center back. And I think and I say this not as a knock on Sebastian at all, but the floor and the ceiling are very close to each other when it comes to Sebastian Ibeaga, which means you kind of know what you're going to get from him. So do I feel a little bit of a concern? Sure, only because Chiellini only played the last couple of minutes. But when you have a player like Sebastian Ibeaga who's ready to go, coming off the bench, who's played in big games like this before, who knows what to do, I'm not at all nervous about our back line. I do just love we finally get to see that Murray-Lini pairing that we were talking about, we were hoping to see last match.
Yeah, and I think we're all looking at it being about shutting down Austin because they do have so much firepower. But I'm thinking back to that Galaxy match, and I think we all agreed that didn't look like an LFC team we're used to seeing. They didn't have a lot of possession, didn't have a lot of purpose.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was because they could not build out the back. I think Chiellini's going to be that much more important for the back and his passing ability, his ability to move the team up the field, and then obviously, as we said, limit counters. The way he can squeeze the field, they can keep the team compact.
Yeah.
I think that's where Chiellini's going to be important. Obviously, defensively, though, he's a stalwart, and we love that. But I want to go back to one thing that you said, Philly. It's not time to make line changes. So that, aside from Chiellini, it's really much all the same. That front three is the same. We're starting to see some chemistry. So how do you feel after a little bit of tightness in the first half against the Galaxy? How do you feel being buoyed from that second half and then the guys having that same setup as the front three?
I mean, the lineup that we have is the lineup that we anticipated originally against the Galaxy. And it's the lineup that we finally have. It's the best lineup that we have. And yeah, it might have taken some time from that Austin match in which we lost 4-1 for these guys to gel, but they're gelling at the right time. And we know this is it. The time for games is over. Talk is done. Talk is cheap right now. This is the lineup. And for the first time, I'm saying this all season, because if y'all listen to our podcast, you know I've been cautious all season long. I'm all on board with what Steve's doing. I'm confident in this lineup. I know that these guys are going to shut down Fagundes. I know these guys are going to shut down Driussi. To me, it's inevitable, and I'm not blowing smoke in the air. I firmly believe that that's going to happen.
Scarf, I know you want to jump in. I don't want to see your point, but there's just been something that's been bothering me this whole time.
Yeah.
Something different about the three of us. And is it your shirt?
No, I did. I'm down a size in kit. So this is actually an XL jersey that I bought here. Other than that, I mean, I feel like we're all pretty much in what we...
People in the chat keep commenting about your hat. You look about normal to me.
New necklace. Maybe.
Yeah, no, it's my amulet of power.
You look good, buddy.
All right, just real quick. We haven't touched on it. Explain to people why you're wearing a Pharaoh outfit.
This is what happens when you procrastinate going Halloween costume shopping. So I went yesterday. I had the bright idea of doing this. So I either was going to be Pharaoh Philly or Philly the Bumblebee, because I wanted a black and gold attire. This was more black and gold than black and yellow. Hence, I know you guys would have wanted that. That's why I decided to do this. But the amulet of power gives me my saving grace, hence the costume. But with the sun glaring down on me, guys, I'm dying right here. I'm absolutely dying.
You are radiant.
I look rather pale. I'm going to look rather red in about 15 minutes.
All right. Well, if you're looking for this match on television, if you can't be here as one of 22,000 black and gold faithful, ABC and ESPN Radio will have the match. Found out from Dave Denholm, he's never called an MLS Cup final. So hashtag do it for Dave today as well. So ABC, ESPN Radio, checking out the black and gold as we get set to take on Austin FC for a berth in MLS Cup final.
Absolutely. And at the conclusion of today's game, make sure you come back for our instant reaction post-game show. It's going to be the three of us and a whole slew of characters surrounding us. We hope to be jovial. We hope to have fun. Happy Halloween to everybody and happy birthday to LAFC.
And before we go, we have one last important piece of business. As we said, we threw it out there. Tell us your favorite memory at Banc, and you can win an Ilie Sanchez signed ball. The winner is Miguel Torres.
Hey, congrats.
An incredible moment and an incredible photo.
I think
we have this photo here.
This photo. Look at this.
This photo is unreal.
Is
Obviously,
it the Pulitzer they give for like photos?
You can get a Pulitzer for photos, for photojournalism.
This is incredible.
That's a great shot.
Yeah. Incredible story, Miguel. That moment's touching. It touched all of us when we saw it beforehand. So you are a deserving winner. We're sorry to hear about your father, but we hope that you'll enjoy that ball. And that's just an incredible moment. We're glad you got to share that.
Yeah. And again, don't forget, 90 minutes. Head back here right after the match. We get it fired up. We're 90 minutes away from MLS Cup final, guys.
We will be here one way or another after the match for our instant reaction post-game, but hopefully we're talking about LAFC and an MLS Cup final right back here at Banc. We'll see you guys in 90-ish minutes or so.
Let's go black and gold.
Hi, Mom.